Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the You Get to Decide podcast. This is Allison Gallagher, your host and life coach, talking about identity work, which is the most important work I think we can do as human beings if we want to try to heal, feel better, attain our goals if we're struggling to attain our goals. What I say I do is I get you from stuck to unstoppable, and identity, the road through getting from stuck to unstoppable is through your identity. It is literally identity work. We are stuck in an identity. We don't know this, but we're stuck in an identity that doesn't believe or doesn't feel safe attaining the thing or being the thing. Right? Whatever the thing is, people are stuck for so many reasons. I can give my examples, and I'm going to give a few other examples, but this is my favorite, I'm going to say pathway. I use 5 pathways in my coaching. My return of you method that basically says, you've stepped away from your truth. I help you bring you back to yourself. And when I bring you back to yourself, I guide you back to yourself, that's when you truly become unstoppable, because that's when you're living from actual truth and not the lies of the limiting beliefs that have been instilled in our own body and mind. And so when I say return of you, we leave ourselves, we disconnect from ourselves because we're not running the show. Our nervous system parts are running the show. Our survival brain is running the show. And when we're in survival brain and we have big goals, it's just, you can't do it. You just can't get there, right? You have to be purposeful in what you're thinking and feeling to get to be the person, attain the goal, more money, lose the weight, even have kids, create the business, write the book, show up on social media. Like, there's just so many different things or set boundaries, right? Especially if we struggle with setting boundaries, we're a people pleaser, then setting boundaries to our nervous system, to our body, is going to feel unsafe. It is a threat to the identity we're in. Okay. So I'm going to break this down for you. I love in my return of you, the pathway, this is the fourth pathway. I have 5. This is leading from the truth. That's what this pathway is, okay? And I'll say them again, what they all are. When you work with me, these are the pathways that get you from stuck to unstoppable. Number 1 was reflecting what was protection. Okay, so that's when you're stuck. That's stuckness, right? Running from survival mode. 2 is anchoring in yourself, which is creating safety in who you are. 3, I did last week, was reclaiming your belief. Okay, that's when you take back what you believe, or believe on purpose. This week is leading from truth. Okay, leading from the truth. And I absolutely, this is my favorite pathway. Okay, they're all super important, but this one is my favorite because it is so fun to step into a new identity. It's so fun. And people do this naturally, right? You have a baby and all of a sudden you've now stepped into an identity of being a parent. You didn't decide, well, it's just kind of like naturally happens. You get pregnant, you just have a baby, and now your identity as a parent, right? And you're just naturally going up at work, right? You end up, some people have no problem like ending up in the C-suite because you've gone small steps, right? So it's been, if your nervous system feels safe, then it's going to be an easy, if your nervous system feels safe, you're just naturally going to step into it. That's the deal. Okay. But if you want to take big leaps, or if it might seem like a small leap, but if your nervous system doesn't feel safe, because making one post on Facebook, that could derail people for years. And that seems like a small thing, but to your nervous system, that could be like, oh my God, the world's going to see me and I'm going to make fun of, or I'm going to get judged. And if something happened to you when you were a kid, Okay, if you were bullied, or if in some way you didn't feel safe in front of a lot of people, your body might stop you from doing something so small. It feels like so small, but it's not to your body. So leading from your truth is purposefully stepping into the identity of who you want to be. Okay? And what is so, I feel like everybody on the planet should know about identity work and what's actually happening in our own life, because it governs the quality of your life. Okay, and I'm here because I value the quality of my life, my family's life, and my client's life, right? Like, I've created a career around helping people in quality of living. And what happens is, and this is like universal science, right? We're all vibration, we're all energy, okay? And so when we're trying to attain something and we're trying to have the thoughts to get there, there are different level energy frequency. Then if our body truly doesn't believe it, we're vibrating at a different energy in our body than we are in our thoughts, and that's incongruent. And so it's not aligning with the universe. It's not aligning with the energy. It's like law of attraction stuff. But that's the basis. The energy of our body has to be congruent with the energy of our thoughts, because it's all energy. We're energy. They all have to be aligned in order for us to flow into that new identity, and in order to attract whatever we want, right? You can't fake the belief and then achieve it. It can happen. You're doing it probably from burnout, or you're in burnout, and possibly you could lose whatever you've created, because you'd never really aligned with it, right? It's coming from not enough. It's coming from this is unsafe in our nervous system, okay? So that's why our identity, like who we're being, has to match our thinking before we receive it, right? So we can't attain the thing and then we become the person that can hold it. Okay, we can't attain $1 million and then become the person that can hold $1 million. Like, that's happened for people, but how many people have won the lottery and then end up in jail or broke because they did not match the energy of being a millionaire, okay, of holding $1 million. It was incongruent. Your nervous system doesn't think it's safe. It will push it away. And this is stuckness. So a lot of us, and there's a lot of different identities. You could be a rock star at work and be petrified of food, right? Or a rock star at work, but can't set boundaries at home. Or a rock star mom, but triggered by your spouse. Okay, these are identities. It's what you think about yourself. Your identity is what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself, what you think about your capabilities, what you think about your possibilities. It's your life, your circumstance. That's what an identity is, and it's rooted deep, right? So if nothing ever triggered you in your professional space, then you might be killing it at work. But if you were triggered around food or body shame, okay, then, or if you're using food to cope in your life because there is pressure happening, then you're going to have the identity, and there's an identity there with fear of food, or using food, right? Having a push and pull relationship with food. So this even happens with having babies. If your nervous system doesn't think it's safe to have a baby, for whatever reason, okay, and go back and listen to my last few episodes, because it goes into safety in the nervous system. But if your nervous system doesn't think it's safe to have a baby, it will push it away. It will push conception away. You're incongruent. And this is not everybody that wants a baby, or is trying to have a baby, but this is a huge part of it. That's why when you relax and forget, it happened to me. I was so obsessed with having a baby until I forgot about it, and then I got pregnant, right? And that's because you're stopped obsessing, you've stopped worrying, and your nervous system felt safe because you're not even thinking about it. You become the person that it doesn't even matter. And so you let go, and it's a flow energy, and then you get pregnant. There are coaches, there are somatic teachers, there's even doctors that will help you match your energy, right, in your nervous system, along with your beliefs and getting pregnant. It's all somatic, right, goes through the body, to relax your nervous system to actually get pregnant. Like I know coaches that help women get pregnant. Because it's all the same. It's identity work. And if you don't, you can't, you don't, and some people, they're in flow, right? They have no attachment to any type of identity as a parent. They're just like, whatever, and then they get pregnant. Okay? But if you're triggered by being a parent in some way, shape, or form, deep down, that it's scary, what if I'm not good enough? You know, if you were abandoned as a kid, there's all different reasons why we might trigger to be push babies away from our being parents. And if you're doing that, that's what you can hire a coach for, or somatic teacher. There's doctors that will help you do that too. Okay, because they understand the nervous system. So that's identity. And so how I describe it is truth, leading from the truth, what's actually true. Because what's actually true is that you're perfectly safe at all times. You're safe to have a baby. You're safe to make $1 million. You're fully capable of holding $1 million. You're fully capable of holding all of your dreams, all of your aspirations, all of it. It's all safe. You are fully capable of never being stuck. We all are. So, hold on. My daughter's texting me. Let me text her back. Oh. Okay. So when I say lead from the truth, it's getting to the root of all the beliefs that we have, which would be the last episode, okay? All the beliefs that we have that were piled on top of our nervous system, okay? Well, I say piled on top of our nervous system, but our nervous system kind of grabbed hold of and created an identity out of, okay? So if we made mistakes and we got made fun of, or if there was a lot of pressure on us as a kid, we created an identity of being a perfectionist, and that's a protector, right? We can't ever make a mistake because that means maybe we're unsafe, we're disconnected from our parents, right? If our parents were perfectionists or put a lot of pressure on us, and I'm just giving you one example, but we created the protector of perfectionist. So because it's a threat to make a mistake. It's a threat to our safety growing up. So that's an identity, okay? And that's piled on top of our truth because it's actually safe to make a mistake, right? But to our nervous system, to the beliefs that cultivated throughout our life and our experience and how we saw the world, stored in our nervous system, an identity of a perfectionist. And these are all protectors. That's what they are. They're all protectors. Right? But underneath all that junk, all the voices, all the experience that our brain turned into a story to protect us is our inner truth. And the inner truth, hear me loudly, the inner truth for us is that we're all fully capable, we're all worthy, we're all whole, we're all complete humans. If we have a desire in our heart, we have everything we need inside of us to achieve it. But all this shit that's been piled on top, all these separate identities and these beliefs are blocking it. And so I call it leading from the truth because we get to the root. I call it truth for several reasons, but we're getting to the root of our inner truth. And your inner truth speaks to you all day. You may not just hear it, right? It's intuition. Intuition's connected to our inner truth, right? So if I'm on a call with someone and they're not sure which road to take in their life, they're not sure what feels like which identity, okay? I say, what does it feel like in your body? Does it feel expansive or does it feel restricting? And if it feels restricting, then it's not your truth. If it feels expansion, then it is your truth. Okay? When you get to the root, if the body has to feel safe in order to do that. But even a lot of times when I'm dysregulated, I can still even feel it a little bit. So, and in our most natural state, we are calm. We are safe inside. Like if you have anxiety, your nervous system is not feeling safe. That there's a piece of you that doesn't feel safe somewhere. And that's why we have anxiety. It's all body-based and body and belief. Okay? The belief is what creates the feeling in our body. And and also leading from our truth feels good. It feels good moving in that direction. If it doesn't feel like a threat to your nervous system, to imagine the identity you want to step into, right? The identity of someone who makes a certain amount of money, to someone who has the business you want to have. Maybe you want to own real estate. Maybe you want to be a parent, a mom, a dad. You want to be a runner. You want to lose 100 pounds. But it could be you want to lose 5 pounds. Or you want to, addiction is an identity, which is one of the reasons why I left the rooms, was because you sit in the identity of being an addict. And I couldn't put it into words then, but I was like, healing to the root is not in this room, because we're sitting in the identity of, hi, my name is Allison and I'm powerless over food. That statement isn't true. We're not powerless over anything. We're not powerless over any substance. That's a thought that's going to cultivate an identity of being powerless. And I knew the answers were not in that room, because I knew I could be a person that food didn't call. I knew that. And a few people just told me recently that for me, I stepped into the identity of someone who doesn't need food, and I'm kind of an anomaly in how I did it. And for whatever reason, I don't know, but I did it I recognized in the rooms that there was more. There was more. If you're sitting in the rooms and you haven't done the root work, you're still feeling unsafe. Your nervous system is still feeling unsafe, right? Because if it's a problem, if the substance is a problem, then you're still coming from not enoughness. And so we have to go outside of ourselves for coping, for numbing, for extra support and safety. When you feel completely safe in your nervous system, being exactly who you are, where you are, you don't need any substance. Nothing. Nothing. We're not broken. We're not meant to be addicts for the rest of our life. No. And nobody will ever change my mind. I've done enough work on myself. I've done enough. I was in recovery for 12 years. I've read all the fucking books. Because you have an addiction doesn't mean you have to die an addict. That's a belief that's going to keep you stuck in the identity of needing the substance. No thanks. No thanks. I want to be free. Fucking free. Free. And it takes work, but that's okay. It's actually, we're working anyway. We're working to avoid the substance. We're working to, it's harder to stay stuck and just give up than it is to actually work to be unstoppable. Okay? It's harder to stay stuck. It's harder on us. It drains our energy. We are miserable. We're pulled in multiple different directions. We have total loss of control over our own life. We're at an inner war inside our body and our mind. We start to hate ourselves. And then we regret how we show up to the whole world. That is way harder than doing the work to return to ourselves, believe new things, and do the work to step into the identity that actually feels fucking good. And then nothing derails you because you know your patterns so well. That's what my return of you, every time you return back to yourself, you'll see a pattern. You're learning about yourself. And so you stack new habits. You go again with more knowledge of who you are. It's a pattern recognition. And it's a level of awareness that no one can ever take from you, ever. Everything you learn about yourself, you'll never not learn. You'll never not know. And it's a reconnection back to yourself. And when I stepped into my next level identity, it was amazing what happened. So I created an identity blueprint of who I was becoming, and I started to sit in her. And this is in my workbook, and I can give you a few questions, right? But I started to sit in her and imagine being her, right? Because she's the one that creates the results I want, not me, right? Not me. I stepped into a next identity of the person, and I start to think about, how does she feel throughout the day? What does she think about herself throughout the day? What does she think about her circumstances? What does she think about her bank account? What does she think about her body? What's her relationship with food like? How does she parent? How does she walk into a room? What does she wear? Okay? This is like the millionaire version. Okay? And just get an idea. Okay? And then I would sit in that energy. And it was abundance, and it was confidence, and it was calm, and it was expansion, and like warmth, right? And my nervous system started to say, oh, this is safe. This feels really good, right? Doesn't happen the first time, doesn't happen the second time, right? But I had already gone from pathway 1 to 3 into 4. Okay, so I already knew how to create safety in my nervous system. I already knew the thoughts that were disconnecting me. I already understood and reconnected to my nervous system, which was some of the inner child stuff. And then I had already had the beliefs I wanted to believe. And then stepping into that identity was like, oh, my nervous system, it felt so good that my nervous system realized this is the new home. This can be home. And it felt really good. And my nervous system was like, this is our new baseline. And that's exactly what happened. I created a new baseline for myself. A baseline of calm, expansion, abundance, overflow, like those feelings, right? Connected, receiving. And I stepped into that identity, and all of my energy changed, and my inner energy, right? And all of a sudden, what I'm feeling and thinking is aligned. And then you take action from that place, right? But here's what happens. Your nervous system is like, oh, this is the new baseline, okay? But then there's a capacity. So your body only has so much of a capacity for that level of safety. And then it's like, I'm not sure if this is safe. And then it starts to regress and take you back. This is the normal part of identity work. Okay? But if I'm your guide through this, I know where you are when you are. Okay? But this is the natural part of when you're purposefully stepping into an identity. When you're like, I want to own a business. I want to make $100,000 in my business. I want to make $500,000 in my business. This is the work. And if you're stuck in some way, right? Or what is the energy, sitting in the energy of abundance of loving your body, right? If you have disdain for your body and your weight, you have an identity of that your body's not enough. Okay? And if you can't lose weight and stay the weight you want to be from your body is not enough. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay? You have to come from a place of safety inside your nervous system, because if you do it from not enough, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out. And for me, I had and this is probably going to land, but I was overweight all of my life, right? So the identity of the overweight version of me, I also had the identity of struggle. So I created struggle. So I would lose weight, gain it back, because I needed a project. Because I was like, I thrive in struggle. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. But also, if you have this identity of being overweight, then you have to create safety in the blueprint, the identity of you as the version that has lost weight. But you have to create safety for yourself of being in that energy and that belief first. You imagine it happening and you create safety for that first, and then you will release the weight. That's what happens. Same with money. You don't make $1 million or 100,000 or whatever and then become the person. You have to match the energy. So what are your thoughts around money? That's identity, right? Broke mentality is a generational thing. Okay? Broke, lack, and scarcity is not just a generational thing. Lack and scarcity, you turn on the news. Lack and scarcity is everywhere, right? We have to decide on purpose what we want to think and feel. And if we believe that we're running out of money, forget it. I did it for a long time. Please don't do it. Don't ever do it. Okay? Because that will derail your whole life. And it creates so much emotional pain. And it's just not true. And also, what you believe is what you're going to attract, because that's the level of the frequency of your energy, of the thoughts and your beliefs in your body. So that's what you're attracting, right? Same with struggle. That's the energy that I'm vibrating on, okay? Where now I vibrate on abundance, overflow, even rest. If rest is a threat to your nervous system, it's a threat to you, probably, some of you out there, you're like, I can't rest, right? Just hearing it, it's true. It's a threat. But it's not a threat. It's a threat to a belief you have, because rest is not a threat. Rest is just life. It's just the thing. It's neutral, right? And so for the first time in my life, I can rest and relax. Because if you can't rest, that is about trust. That is trust. There's lack of trust when you cannot rest. Lack of safety. Get really curious. I can help you with this. I could dismantle this shit in minutes for you. Okay? So for me, I rest my nervous system for the first time ever in my entire life. Anxiety is at nil. And I had anxiety for so many reasons, because I had such a dysregulated nervous system. Even doing this work, I'm so in tune with my body, right? But, and I'm also always achieving. I'm never not learning. I'm never not growing, ever. I don't ever take a break. Okay, so I'm always triggered. And I've had so many different triggers: lack and scarcity, struggle, food, so addiction, money. And that alone in a lifetime is enough. It's enough. Okay. Struggle was on so many different levels. And I've gotten to the root of all of it. And most of my clients don't have to go through what I went through. I'm an anomaly. And, but I can rest and feel totally abundant resting. It's amazing. And it's available for everyone. Okay. And also, when you rest, you have more energy to actually do the things you want to do, right? So if you're a high achiever and you think rest you don't value it, okay, right? Because there's this running tape that the urgency that you have to produce, most likely the deal, you're leaking energy. And when you can rest properly from abundance, you have way more energy to do the shit you want to do that you value. You have to value rest. Really, you do, okay? And this also goes, I just did a post about generational patterns, right? Generational, whether you want to call it trauma, generational patterns that were passed down to kids, right? It's not about what you do. You can take action, but if you don't change the core identity of lack and scarcity, of not enough, of unworthy, of broke mentality, okay? If you're setting a boundary but still believe you're not enough, what's passing to our kids is our energy, not what we're doing. It is who we are being. If you want to change generational patterns, identity work is the root, okay? It is the root of passing this shit down. And this is how I landed in this work, because I didn't want to pass down to my kid what was passed down to me. Generational. It stopped with me. My daughter is getting a completely different human parent than all of my generations before me. Okay? And it's from a core identity, not what you do. It's who you are being. When you do the thing, you can set a boundary from not enough, and you can set a boundary from enough, right? Not enough is screaming, maybe even giving in at times, walking around resentful and angry, okay? From enough, clarity, calm comes out of your mouth. This is the deal. This is what's happening, and you don't turn back, and you don't make it a problem. Very different. I just created a post about what life looks like from being enough and not enough, and that's identity. Identity of enough is completely safe in our nervous system, right? Identity of not enough is a dysregulated nervous system. And then and when we're not enough, we're not safe. And then we're reaching outside of ourselves for safety, which is screaming and yelling because it's frantic, or coping mechanisms, which will be could be an addictive substance, or we need other people to behave a certain way so that we are not triggered. No, that's coming from I'm not enough. You get to create safety in your nervous system right now, in who you are, exactly where you are. In fact, that's the best use of your time. And you are so grounded in your inner truth, because that's what it is. Our inner truth is we are safe and we are enough. And if you have shame, you don't feel safe and you don't feel enough. Shame is I have to be fixed. There's something wrong with me. I am too much. I am a problem. I am a burden. That's shame. And that is a dysregulated nervous system. And it is very, very difficult to level up in our life in that identity. These are warnings, okay? These are informational warnings. Please don't do it from this space. Heal. Heal it so that you can become unstoppable. That might be it. And so what I want to share at the very end is, for me, what I did, and not many people have to do to the level I did, but I had to get down to my bare bones of who I thought I was. I had to tear down to the foundation and rebuild myself from the bottom up. And when I did that, it came from what's actually true. It was no longer anybody else's voices. It was no longer my inner child screaming and having to run the show, all the different identities, the struggle, the perfectionist, the one that doesn't rest, the one that needs food to cope. All those, for me, all those different identities are no longer screaming, because I'm not living from those. I'm living from what's actually true. And what's actually true is I am worthy, I am complete. Anything else on top of that is a skill, right? This is a skill. Becoming stuck to unstoppable is a skill. Anyone can learn it. Right? But if you believe you're not enough, or you have shame is going to say, someone's going to find out I can't even do that right. And that's shame talking. That's that's feeling unsafe. Because the inner truth, the root is, anyone can learn it, just takes, it's only a matter of time, right? The truth is that making money is a skill, that no one is holding money from us. We're not, right? The broke mentality that's passed down from generation to generation, that's not the truth. That's a belief. All the cultural beliefs that I run into in coaching, okay, there's a lot of cultural beliefs. You got to take care of your parents, guilt, we're controlled by shame, work ourselves to death. You're not supposed to rest. Okay, there's all these generational patterns that go from kid to kid. None of it's true, right? For me, what I rebuilt myself from the ground up when I stepped into that identity blueprint, and I help my clients create an identity blueprint. What do they look like, sound like, act like, right? And I gave you some of the questions to answer. When I stepped into her, it felt so good in my body because I had already done multiple pathways, right? So this was the 4th pathway I was in. It felt so good in my body. Truth always feels good. Truth is love. Truth is love. When it feels awful, it's not your truth. Shame is not your truth. It feels like shit. Okay? This identity felt so good to me that I was like, oh my God, this is home. And that's why I say that's the return of you. Because it feels really good. Truth is love. It's love. Right? So I built myself from the ground up with no other noise. Reconnected back to myself, right? I returned to me. The noise in my head is nil. There's no screaming. Because the identities are not trying to win. They know who's running the show now, me. I'm running the show. They get to come with me. I love them dearly, all my little identities and little parts, but they know that we're safe in what we're doing. They know we're safe. They know I'm driving the bus and that where we're going is safe. That's identity. That's stepping into that next identity, and that's when you connect in your abundance, and that's when you become an energetic match for the things that you want. I mean, it's so fun. It is so fun. And it is a skill, and anyone can do this work. If you are saying, I can't do it, she doesn't know me, someone's going to find out that I'm the dumb one, and I can imagine the terror that's going through your body when you say that. That is shame. That's a wound talking. How old does that feel? How old does that feeling feel in your body? And whose voice is it? Think about that, because that's going to give you a lot of answers. It's not your voice, it's someone else's. And the feeling in your body is probably very old, meaning it's been there a long time, meaning it's young. The voice is young inside of you. It's been there a long time. It's a wound. It's not your truth. Always a wound. Shame is always a wound. Always. Always. It is never your truth, embarrassment and shame. Never. Take it from me, people. Okay? So that is it for me. If you want to work with me, this is what we would do together. We would work 5 pathways. You have a workbook that is the feedback from my clients. They're obsessed with my workbook, which keeps getting bigger and bigger. Like, I keep adding really great things to it. And we get you from stuck to your whatever unstoppable looks like to you, right? Some people want to make $1 million. Some people, want to write a book. Some people want to be a more present mom. Some people are creating a foundation. Like, it doesn't matter what stuck to unstoppable looks like. It is universal. This is universal. Even stop using substances. Okay, stop using coping mechanisms. All that can be done in this program with these coaching tools. So if you are interested, reach out to me. You can email me at coaching@AllisonGallagher.com. My calendar is in the show notes. You can just sign up for a free consult and I can show you what that looks like for you on a consult. But this work is life-changing and it is a skill. Anyone can do it. It's amazing. And I've created it in a way that it is you always know where you are on the pathways. You always know where you are and where you want to land next. And that is what speeds up identity, because the nervous system wants to know where we're going. The nervous system's like, we're out here in the world. Where are we at? Where is he or she going? Like, what's happening? I've created an identity blueprint. So it's like, oh, we're landing there. That's where we're landing. And through practice, all of a sudden, the nervous system's like, okay, that feels good. I can do that. That's home. And it's super powerful. So that's it for today. Identity is what will keep you stuck. And so we are always solving for something else, and it's solving for who we are being is the work. I love it. So that's it. I will see you next week. Bye, guys.